I would say it's almost impossible to believe it wasn't searched, because I saw the search was so thorough, and this is very close to the apartment. So yes, it had to have been searched. It would have been searched visually at that stage. Remember that we were looking for a child that had wandered away. We weren't looking for an abduction, we weren't looking for a murder, we weren't looking for an accident. That came up a couple of days later when nobody could find any trace of the child at all, and started to think out of the immediate box and think, oh, well, perhaps this could happen in Praia da Luz. But things like this don't happen in Portugal. And it remains to see now what they're going to do here. But a large percentage of this ground is rock. Hard, solid rock coming up above the surface. There is no way anybody could have buried in that part. So that reduces the area they've got to search quite substantially. I would say that most, 50%, perhaps less, is even a practical area. And then you have to say that a visual search by people who knew what they were doing, you would have found earth that had been turned over fresh. 7 years down the road, the dogs are not going to be any help. The only thing is ground penetrating radar, and bluntly, I find it very difficult to believe that anything is going to be found. I think the Metropolitan Police have been very insistent. The Attorney General has probably been more patient than we would expect. There was 3 applications. He did agree to this one. We don't know why this one in particular. Must have put up some reasoning for it. Maybe it's to do with the sighting just down the road there of somebody carrying a child. It's possible. We're in the last scene of this act, I think. I think they're doing it because they've been asked to do it, but the point is coming, and you can all see already the relationships are getting a bit strained. And they're doing this, and you can see by the presence here of the police, they're doing it properly. I think it's likely they're going to say after this, come on, look, this can't just go on and on and on. It's not viable. There's just nothing to go on. I think with the police force as well, it's sort of now, it's just apathy, and please just go away. We've had enough of this. So that is not that we don't want little Madeleine found. It's not heartless. It's not considering the parents. They just feel that it's gone way beyond the viability of finding the child or a body. And it's 7 years down the road. Have you ever seen any amount of resource like this put in 7 years?
They could find anything. It's possible that find human remains. It's possible they could find a weapon, some clothing maybe, or any clue that would help them find out what happened to Madeleine. They have a good chance of finding something. I was involved in an operation where we found a lady who'd been murdered some 10 years after she was buried. The techniques they're using with the dogs and the ground penetrating radar are very effective, and I think if there is something there to be found in the areas they're searching, then they will be successful. It's kind of a 3-4 stage process. First of all, there's an aerial photography of the whole area, and that indicates with special photography places where the ground may have been disturbed. After that, there'll be a search at the surface, which we saw this morning. Then they make boreholes to release the scent for the dogs, and then lastly they'll clear away the vegetation completely and bring in the ground penetrating radar machines, which can find any anomaly underneath the surface that isn't what you'd expect. Yes, it is very costly. Expert equipment, experts to use them from outside the police service, and the police dogs, and of course the police officers here. But that really does reinforce that there must be something behind it. Although we don't know what that is, I'm sure the police have got very good reason for doing what they're doing here.